again. We'll continue the tasting of the 2017 Cuvee 32. We call this our Super Tuscan style blend, and we started that actually with my first vintage back in 1999. And the very first La Storia we ever produced was the Cuvee 32. I always liked the Super Tuscans, so I thought, well, maybe we can go that route. So I started blending Sangiovese with Merlot and the Cabernet, and sometimes a little bit of Syrah. So later on, we planted a little bit of Montepulciano, and we really liked it. About 7, almost 8 years ago, we planted an additional Sangiovese and Montepulciano. By planting, believe it or not, 1.7 acres of Montepulciano, we almost doubled the entire production of the grape in Sonoma County. Our new planting of Sangiovese was a carefully selected Brunello clone. To me, honestly, Sangiovese is one of the hardest grapes to work with. The young block, it's a lot easier to manage because of the way we planted the vines. We give it a little tighter spacing and therefore easier to manage. So let's pop the cork and see what we have. Blend is 57% Sangiovese, 30% Montepulciano, and 13% Merlot. I think the blend of the two Tuscans is working really well. The Sangiovese is still the predominant part of the blend with beautiful Asian spices and cranberries and red cherries. Montepulciano brings more spice, lots of blueberries, makes the color darker. It doesn't necessarily bring more tannin because Montepulciano is not as tannic as it may suggest by looking at the color. And the Merlot, it just softens the entire blend a little bit, adds a few new nuances to it. Yes, 23 months and 23% new French oak. What we do, we blend the wine after the first year. We put the components together and then we age them together so they can kind of get to know each other in the barrel and start playing together well. Okay, so let's see. Beautiful. The first whiff, cranberry with cherry. There's a nice cinnamon again coming out of it. There is a suggestion of Asian spices. Perhaps, I wouldn't call it ginger, but somewhere around that kind of exotic herbs in it, kind of on the background. They're not the major player here. It's got a very tight structure, definitely a little bit elevated acidity, which it should be. I mean, it's a Tuscan Sangiovese based. Sangiovese has always brighter acidity. Tannin structure is there, so it will support longer aging. I'm convinced that this is going to last at least 10, 15 years easily. It's very clean. Again, exotic, almost perfumey. It's not a Chianti by any means. This is a lot more serious than your typical Sangiovese that you might buy out of the store for $12.99 or less. This is a whole different animal. You can, again, taste that Trento terroir in there, our Geyserville estate. Delicious. As far as food, I would say typical Italian fare, but I would do some tomato-based dishes easily. Veal. I would say eggplant parmesan. This will do just fine. I would say open the bottle, put it in a nice decanter and let it sit for about an hour, and you will love it. Cheers.